Good morning, I'm Izzy Baughn with JHSTheWarning, and we're here this morning to interview the head coach of Hurricane football, Randy Coleman. Thank you for being here, Coach.
Thanks for having me, Izzy.
Well, we grabbed our first home win this past week against Batesville, complete with our biggest football dog pound or student section in years. How do you think the atmosphere at Cook Johns helped the Hurricane?
Well, the atmosphere was great. And we talked about it last week on the show that, having a home game, actual at Cook Johns was big, first time in 12 years. And normally I don't notice, the crowd or anything like that, but the dog pound was so good that, it caught my attention throughout the game. So couldn't be happier about what they add to what we're doing, and just so thankful for them, and hopefully they'll come back.
We're planning to be there tonight, so hopefully the rain will hold off. But speaking of rain, the forecast for tonight's game is not looking great, with a high chance of thunderstorms right around game time. So how could or will the weather affect this game?
Well, unfortunately, probably rain would benefit Conway a little bit more because they are high percentage run. We're a little bit higher percentage pass. Typically, if you have good ball boys, and we do, it's not so much of a factor with just rain because you can change the ball every play. But if there's wind involved, then it gets a little trickier. So hopefully the weather will stay away and we can get a good game in, without elements being a factor. But, when it comes down to it, and we talk to our team all the time about, if we set a football down in the parking lot, we'll play a game. If you set a football down on a gravel road, we'll play a game. So if you set a football down on Cook Johns tonight with rain or storms, then we're going to play.
That's a great mentality to have. Coach, let's start with the offense. We seemed to struggle with penalties last week's game. So what adjustments were made to settle down the offense concerning penalties?
Well, I don't know, a lot of times penalties are a result of just adrenaline. And especially in week one, you're going to get those types of penalties, false starts, and that sort of thing. Now, I'm not promising that we're not going to have penalties like that tonight because we're trying to do some different things cadence-wise than we've done in years past, and it's been a little bit of a process. So, it may happen again, but the good news is we're still non-conference. And in order for us to win a state championship, which is the ultimate goal, the conference games are what's most important. So right now we're just trying to, iron out the kinks and knock the rust off of some things, and then implement some new things that we haven't done in the past. And some people are going to have to be patient, me included, because pre-snap penalties, mental mistakes are things that just drive me crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on a more positive note for the offense, sophomore quarterback Cross Jumper and his offense averaged 14.7 yards per completion. So can we expect to see the same explosive offense against a good Conway?
Well, it just depends. One, like the previous question, depends on weather. So we'll see, how that goes. But, every week we try to gain more explosive plays. And explosive plays, we define them as plays of 25 yards or more. We gain more explosive plays than our opponent. Last week we had 5 and they had 1. That's always the goal. So we've got a few things that we added this week to try to do that. But against Conway, who is really, really sound, we need to have more 4 to 7 yard gains and sustain that type of game throughout the night to get first downs, to move the chains in order for us to be effective.
We'll be looking for that tonight. Well, let's switch and talk a little bit about the Hurricane defense. They played extremely well last week, especially in the red zone. So do you feel that the defense can play at this level tonight?
Well, I think so. When it all starts up front, with Kevin Pointer, JHSTheWarning, and Nate Light, Logan Orr, as a defensive end sometimes as well. Those guys played extremely well. JHSTheWarning had 11 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, resulting in negative 33 yards. So, you know, those types of plays, negative plays, where you get, you know, your opponent behind the chain, so to speak, where they're facing long yardage, gets them a little more predictable. So hopefully we can do that again. But Conway's very good. It's going to be very different than what Batesville did. They're going to be in a lot of 12 personnel, which is 1 running back, 2 tight ends, and they're going to just run downhill at you. And you know, they're over 60% run, so it's just going to be a different animal tonight that we face. And you know, but I think our defense is well coached. They've got a good plan together. If they play hard and fast and physical like they did this week, I'm excited about what's going to happen.
I think they're well coached and ready for it too. Well, we talked last week about how young our team is. A lot of them playing their first high school game this past week. So having one game behind us, do you feel that they have settled into their positions on the team a little better?
Well, you know, I think it's going to take more time for young, inexperienced players to, you know, settle, so to speak, into what they're doing. But each week that goes by, that becomes less and less of an excuse. You've got to, you know, you've got to become a player, and I think that's going to happen. You know, there were things that, you know, you talked about with penalties and, you know, and that sort of thing that happens early in the season that you've got to decrease as you move forward. And I think that'll happen. And I think, you know, just more experience that those guys gain, you know, people will say the game slows down, and that's really, really true. And I think the game will slow down for them, and they'll become more playmakers and effective in our scheme. And you know, we just need games and snaps under our belt to get there.
Absolutely. Well, we hope to see you all there tonight. Be sure to bring your rain gear just in case. But it'll be at 7 p.m. right here at Jonesboro High School, and they will play Conway. Good luck tonight, Coach.
Thank you, Izzy.